Hi guys, and welcome to another art lesson. Today we're going to be working on a sea turtle. So you'll want to start with a canvas. It could be a canvas board or a stretch canvas, like a 9 by 12 or 8 by 10. Anything bigger is also fine. You could do square if that's all you have on hand. I'm going to use a large brush, a medium brush, a detail brush. So a variety of brushes and a variety of paint colors. For our turtle, it's going to be in the sea, so we'll need some blues. You can use the Essentials brand by Royal Langnickel. You can use Craft Smart, just craft paint, just for fun. Lots of blues, lots of greens. We'll put in some pink flowers and we're just going to have a lot of fun. So I'm going to start with a magenta color actually. And I'm going to place a little bit of magenta on a fresh palette. And I'm going to add some greens and blues. Just going to start preparing the palette. You can actually use the prepared canvas tutorial if you like and start with a canvas that has a light blue-green background to it. But if you haven't prepared a canvas, that's fine. We can do the background as we go here. So both ways, both work just fine. Get some blue, lots of white. We tend to need some white, some dark greens for our turtle. I'm just sort of loading up the palette right now, but of course we're going to need more colors than what you see at the moment, but we're just going to get started with a few here. And maybe a bit of dark brown as well. So just put a little of that there. Okay, guys. So for ease of entering into trying to paint this sea turtle, I'm going to have this sea turtle just swimming and its head is going to be looking down in the water. So we're going to see the shell, its little arms, and I thought it would be fun to sprinkle in some hibiscus flowers in there as well. So I'm going to take a large brush for now, and I'm just going to sort of start placing a few items. I want to use maybe either a green or a light brown. I think I'm going to go with the light brown. It's okay to start in green as well. And so I'm going to just put some of this dark brown into some white and try to mix up some sort of a light tan brown color. And I'm going to use this to sort of place the turtle. So when we're working on a canvas, we really want to be thinking about contrast and composition and color. So I'm going to place this turtle, I'm not going to put him right in the center, I'm going to put him just off, just slightly. So we have to remember that we need a place for his little legs and arms to sort of spread out. So I'm going to start with a shell shape, which is going to be circular, but it's going to go into a little bit of an oval. And I'm doing that slightly off to the right of the canvas. It's not exactly centered, and I'm also slightly have it turned. So something like this, nice and rounded. And that. Nice little turtle shell here. And again, we're just going to be placing a few items right now, so there won't be any detailing quite yet. He's got to have a little head here. His head's going to be looking down. And then he's got some larger arms in the front to help him swim. These little, almost a potato shape, I would say. Could have like a little bit of a fin to it. Not really a fin, I guess is the right word, but like kind of looks like a little fin. Okay, something like this I think is gonna be good. Connect that up a bit more. Okay, so something like this. Looking like lots of little potatoes here so far. And then let's add some little feet here. So when we break it down into these smaller pieces, it becomes a lot less daunting to paint something. We just add layer after layer and until we get something that we like. Okay, so that's looking good. I'm smoothing out this paint a bit. Great. Okay, next thing that I want to place is going to be some hibiscus flowers for fun. So this is going to be sort of like a little bit abstract. Like it would be awesome if the turtle was floating and it reminds you of Hawaii and there's flowers floating in the sea and just like this kind of really special, you know, day with this turtle. So I'm just getting a touch of this magenta color. I want to mix this up to come up with some sort of a light pink color. Slightly darker. And then I'm going to have a flower here. So I'm just making a few petals with a large brush. Nothing too set in stone quite yet. This one is coming right up to the turtle's arm. Maybe one more petal this way. So to create those petals, I'm just swooping my brush around and filling in the inside. So something like that, and maybe add a couple more. So maybe one up here that's just going off the canvas. Maybe I'll make those petals just slightly bigger. And then maybe we have some little flowers just down here. All in light pink. So I have a total of about 5 flowers. I like to go with an odd number because it makes it look a little bit less expected. Well, that's looking good. I like that. Now I'm going to rinse out this brush nice and well. And this part's going to take some time. I'm going to start working on the background while everything else is drying. Of course, if you're using a prepared canvas, then you already have the background. I'm going to use this nice light blue. Yeah, I'm just going to paint the background. Can make it look a little more realistic later with some bubbles and fun little details. But for now, I'm just going to start painting this. Going right up to the elements that I've already placed. If you need to switch to a medium-sized brush in order to get the background correct and right around everything, feel free to do that. I'm going to see how I can do with this larger brush for now and then might switch out to the medium as well. Going along and painting on the sides. All right, guys, so I've got this nice light blue, light turquoise color going on here. And I've kind of painted right up to the edge of everything that I have so far. This is going to be our background water. Now, while I still have all this blue on my brush, I'm gonna grab a little bit of white and I've sort of dabbed some white and I just kind of dabbed it down in the blue and just sort of maybe add bits of white into this canvas just to kind of mix up the water a little. It's kind of subtle, but kind of gives it a little color variation here. You don't have to do it everywhere, but just pick a few places to kind of add a bit of lighter blue. See if we can break this up just a little. We don't want it to all look too solid. So something like that is nice. All right, so that's looking good. Next up, I think we can start adding to our turtle shell. I'm going to rinse this brush out real well and then dry it off. And then I'm going to grab a medium green. So I'm going to go here and just sort of dab a bit on the brush. And I'm going to kind of just come into the turtle shell and make a nice, I'm going on the same pattern as the shell itself, but I'm going to leave a little, you know, on the outside edge there. Just make a nice green patch here. Slowly we'll add more and more detail to this guy, but just one step at a time. Some green. And then gonna rinse out the brush really thoroughly, or grab a new brush that is the same size, nice big brush. Gonna take some of that light pink and white onto my brush. I'm just barely mixing it, just a little, not too much. And I want to come up to these hibiscus flowers and I want to create some depth on those. So I'm just going to add some white and light pink to these petals. I'm not going to put it everywhere. Just sort of in the middle of it there, leaving an outline at the edge. These smaller ones, we're going to have, you know, a little bit more white. This shape here needs a little bit of work, so we'll come back to that in a little more white. And there we go. All right, and we'll detail these out, like I said, more and more, but just want to get a little bit on that background there. And then just a touch of the magenta. And I want to kind of pull from the center here, turning my brush each time I work on a petal. Just a touch. And try to come up with some sort of center to this flower. And we can do the same thing to this larger one over here. I'm just going to dab this one. And again, we're going to add quite a lot more detail to these, but this is just the beginning. Okay, now I'm going to grab a medium-sized brush. Rinse that guy out really good. I'm going to grab some dark brown now. I'm going to go on to the sea turtle's arms and just start adding kind of like some spots to it, but we want to come up with some sort of a pattern here. Something like that. Same thing on the other arm. There's some nice little spots here. They can be bigger and smaller. Something like that. And then his head and his feet, same thing. Going to be adding some brown, some dark brown to this head here. And the feet. These I'm doing a little bit more haphazardly, so just sort of going for it. And then with the shell, I'm gonna draw an inner circle here. Doesn't have to be a perfect circle, a little bit oval, a little bit misshapen. But we want to put some patterns on this guy after a while. So going to draw that, and then I think I'm going to do, you know, some more circles all the way around this guy. It's okay if your green is still wet. Something like this, guys. Nice patterns of circles here. Almost like a flower. And then can go to the edge and just sort of, you know, give the eye the idea that there's more pattern going on. Okay. And then around the edge of the shell that's left, I want to just add some nice little lines. Again, they don't have to be perfect. We'll keep detailing this guy out, but we need to kind of place some things to help us. These are going to be our visual helpers. There we go. All right. There's that guy. Sort of starting to come alive here. Now let's grab another medium brush. And I'm going to grab some white. Try to get some pure white if you still have some. If you don't, you might need to put more on your palette. And at this time, since the blue is still pretty wet, I'm just going to add in some really fun little bubbles here. So I'm mixing the white with what's already there. Going to be small and big bubbles just everywhere. It's almost like, you know, the sea turtle swam by and created the bubbles. So nice little circles, some big, some really small. We can add more later. But this is going to give that painting some magic here. A little bit up here as well, but mostly down below him. Some going off the canvas, some really small ones. All right, so I've got lots of nice little bubbles. Really have started to lay this painting out now. Okay, so next up, I'm going to rinse out that brush and use the detail brush with some blue and add to the back of the turtle shell a bit more detail. So I'm just adding some blue in between the green little stars that I made earlier on the back of the shell, just to give it a bit more pattern. All right, so this guy is getting a lot more pattern on him, looking a bit better here. And then I'm gonna rinse out the brush again. Gonna grab a dark green. And again, just adding lots of little detail here on the turtle shell, lots of little patterns. So with the dark green, I think I'll just add some little lines here and there. We're just gonna make this shell feel a little bit fuller. So it's just filled with all these little patterns. And feel free to add your own patterns. Can be lines, circles, little stars, little petals. And this guy is coming together. This painting is coming together. I think we're getting on the tail end of this guy now. I think maybe these just need a little dot in the center here. Looks like little flowers. Dots on the outer edge. Okay, so that's looking good. Might add just a few touches of green over here on the scaly skin of the turtle. I'm not going to be too much in sync with a pattern here. I'm just going to kind of add a few little touches, make it look more natural. All right, I'm liking that. I'm going to rinse this brush out real good. We're going to use some white now, so I'm going to put some more white on my palette in kind of a cleaner space. Rinse that guy out really good. Dry off your brush with the towel, and then I'm going to go ahead and add some white to several places here. So first I want to add a little bit of white on to the turtle's skin. I'm just going to add just a bit here and there. The white is going to make everything pop. Maybe a little bit here. So the white can almost be, you know, like a bit of a reflection as well of the sun and the water on the turtle. Put It's looking good. And then around the edge of the shell, I just want to fill in some of this tan with a bit of white. Want to get, you know, a little bit of light on the shell, and then we'll do the same thing on the inside of the shell as well. And this guy's coming right along, finishing him out here. This little sea turtle. Okay. And then for the inside of the shell, you can add a bit of pattern and then a bit of just little lines. It's almost like reflective here. I want to give that illusion of light hitting the shell. So I'm kind of giving it the round effect. Don't want to smear it too much. Got a little bit smeared there. So nice and reflected. And again, if yours needs to dry a bit, that's okay. Take your time. And you just kind of place a bit of white to kind of bounce off the turtle. Go over some of these that are too dull here. I want them to be more bright white. All right, so I'm liking this cute little turtle. He is looking good. And then we can do the same thing on the bubbles. We want to add some little tiny bubbles in no particular pattern, just want them to be all fluttering around the sky. And then want to brighten up the edge of some of these bubbles here that we've already placed. And then so just lots of little bubbles. It's a magical effect here. I've got a little bit of green showing through on my white, so either can rinse out my brush or add a bit more white here. All right, so this is looking nice. White is usually like one of the last colors that I start messing with, and it just makes everything pop at the end of the painting. It starts to come together, brightens it all up. All right, like these bubbles, they can be pretty circular. Okay, so add as many bubbles as you like and highlight as many as you like. And then last but not least, we want to add a center to our hibiscus flower. So I'm going to just add a nice long stamen coming out here, I think it's called, with a little ball on the end there. And then another nice long one coming way out here. And then a little white detail from the center on these petals, kind of extending into the center there. There we go. Same thing here, little bits of white, and on the little ones as well. So I hope you enjoyed this painting. It's all bits of tropical sand and sea. Some fun turtle action here. And then feel free to go back and lighten up certain areas. You can even add, some patterns in white. You just kind of keep going until you feel like the sky looks good and darken some of these things. All right, guys. Well, I hope that you had another awesome lesson with me today, and I'll be back with some more. And I hope that you enjoyed this sea turtle. I know I enjoyed painting it with you as well. All right, guys, have a good day.